Hello and welcome back to the channel where flavor knows no borders. This is Food Around Me.
You think Chinese food is just dim sum, Peking duck, or hand-pulled noodles? Oh, no. You're about to step into a culinary world where even the bravest American travelers freeze in shock. From eggs black as midnight, to drunken shrimp still wriggling on the plate, and dishes that make you question, can you actually eat this? Brace yourself. This is 10 Chinese dishes that shock Americans to their core. And maybe, you'll be shocked too. Imagine this. You're an American tourist in Guangzhou. Your host smiles, sliding a plate toward you. A glossy black egg, its white now a translucent amber jelly, its yolk a swampy shade of green. To smell, a faint ammonia tang, like someone just opened a jar of aged cheese. This is the century egg, a delicacy in China, but on TikTok, many Westerners jokingly call the cursed egg. Even the self-proclaimed "I can eat anything" types take a step back. Because in Western food culture, eggs are tied to freshness, to sunny mornings, to bright yellow yolks. See a black egg, the brain's alarm goes off. Not foo. But in Asia, especially in China, the century egg is a prized delicacy, found at weddings, family feasts, and even breakfast porridge. Here, fresh isn't just about color, it's about deepening the flavor through time. How is it made? The process sounds mysterious, but is pure chemistry. Duck, chicken, or pigeon eggs are coated in a mixture of ash, lime, salt, tea leaves, and alkaline clay, not for days, for months. During this time, the alkali penetrates the shell, breaking down proteins and fats, turning the white into bouncy jelly and the yolk into creamy paste. Flavor science here is fascinating. The white becomes firm and almost odorless. The yolk turns rich, savory, and slightly pungent from ammonia, the very thing that makes first-timers hesitate. Ironically, the smell Americans call gross is similar to that of blue cheese, which they happily pay a premium for. One comes from fermented milk, the other from preserved egg. So why is a delicious, historic dish treated like a survival challenge in the West? The answer lies in color psychology and food culture. Studies show that blackened food often signals spoiled or danger in the subconscious, unless redefined through culture like coffee or dark chocolate. For Chinese people, the century egg isn't rotten, it's matured. It's a reminder that value doesn't always come in bright colors. That beauty can emerge from slow transformation. Socially, it even works as a filter. A Westerner who eats it proves not only bravery, but cultural respect. Some Chinese businesspeople reportedly use it as an unspoken test. If a guest can handle century egg, maybe they can handle risk in deals too. Not everyone will love it, but those who dare to try have already cracked through one layer of fear. So, would you turn away because of its strange color, or take a bite and let umami crush your bias? Imagine sitting in an elegant restaurant, warm golden lights glowing, and a waiter brings you a porcelain bowl filled with a crystal-clear broth, shimmering under the light. Then says, "This is bird's nest soup, made from bird saliva." Wait, bird saliva? Yes, but not from just any bird. From the swiftlet, a small bird that lives on coastal cliffs and builds its nest entirely from hardened strands of its own saliva. In Vietnam, China, and many parts of Asia, this is one of the most luxurious ingredients, revered as a super tonic for health, especially for beauty and vitality. Here's the fascinating part. The nest is formed when the male swiftlet produces sticky saliva to anchor it to sheer cliff walls. Harvesting is risky and labor-intensive, which drives the price sky high, sometimes thousands of dollars per kilo. In Asian culture, this dish isn't just food. It's a symbol of care, refinement, and financial power. For Americans, bird's nest soup often delivers a double shock, surprise at the ingredient, and awe at the price. Yet, once they get past the mental barrier, many admit its delicate sweetness and clean aftertaste. Sea cucumber. The name sounds fancy, but when it's placed on the table, many Americans instinctively push their chairs back. Soft, slimy, no eyes, no fins, it looks like something that just fell out of a spaceship. The funny thing is, sea cucumber has almost no taste at all, and people don't eat it for flavor. They eat it for that chewy, bouncy texture and its powerhouse nutritional value. In traditional Asian medicine, sea cucumber is considered the ginseng of the sea. High in protein, low in fat, believed to boost kidney function and male vitality. Fishermen even claim it enhances stamina and energy. Perhaps that's why at many upscale Asian banquets, sea cucumber appears not just as food, but as a statement of health and prestige. Chicken feet. For many Asians, this is just normal food, even a beloved snack. But in the US, that's a whole different story. In the land of fried chicken buckets and boneless white meat, the idea of eating the feet, all tendons, skin, and cartilage, is often seen as waste material, or worse, something you'd toss to the dog. So when an American first sees you happily gnawing on a glossy, sauce-covered chicken foot, their reaction is usually, "Wait, you actually eat that?" But across Asia, from China, Vietnam, and the Philippines to Korea, chicken feet aren't just food, they're an eating art form. It's a full performance of hands, teeth, and patience. You grip, bite, separate the bones, spit them out piece by piece, and only then can you truly enjoy the skin's silky chew and the tendon's springy crunch. From a nutritional science perspective, chicken feet are loaded with collagen, the protein that keeps skin smooth, joints flexible, and beauty fanatics calling it the fountain of youth. No wonder in China, braised chicken feet with herbs or chili sauce are marketed not just as tasty snacks, but as anti-aging superfoods. Yet behind a pot of braised chicken feet lies a deeper cultural story: how people value every part of an animal. In post-World War II America, food culture shifted towards clean meat, lean, boneless, easy to cook, and photogenic on a plate. In contrast, much of Asia still holds to the philosophy of nothing wasted. If it's edible, it can become a delicacy. So, a chicken foot, something discarded in the US, becomes, in Asia, a symbol of culinary craftsmanship. And it's exactly this difference that makes a first bite for an American a mix of curiosity, shock, and sometimes, instant addiction. There's a dish that makes many Americans pinch their noses just by hearing its name. A dish whose smell can make you feel like you've just walked past a garbage dump on a hot summer day. Yet, paradoxically, in much of Asia, especially Taiwan, it's considered a cultural treasure, the beating heart of street food. That dish is stinky tofu. For Americans, encountering stinky tofu for the first time feels like a fear factor challenge. You smell it from meters away, and as you get closer, a wave of aroma slams into you. They describe it as blue cheese plus compost bin. Some even joke, if this smell is an invitation, I'll have to decline. But where does that smell come from? Stinky tofu is made by fermenting soybeans in a special brine containing vegetables, herbs, and sometimes dried shrimp or fish sauce. This process can last hours to months, creating what insiders call the soul of the dish. The strong smell isn't a sign of rot, it's proof that it's authentically ready. Here's the twist: the taste is nothing like the smell. If you're brave enough to get past the first shock, crispy fried stinky tofu with its soft, silky interior, topped with pickled cabbage and chili sauce, becomes a rich, nutty, strangely comforting experience. As Taiwanese locals say, smells scary, tastes heavenly. In Taiwan, Hong Kong, and mainland China, stinky tofu is the soul of the night market. It's not a fine dining dish, but a living part of street culture. The hiss of hot oil, the chopping of pickled cabbage, the pungent air, all create a collective memory. Eating stinky tofu isn't just eating, it's participating in a cultural ritual. To the Western palate, especially in America, this dish is culinary art that challenges your nose. There, food is tied to freshness, pleasant aromas, and cleanliness. A dish that dares to smell provocative breaks all those rules. But that's exactly what sparks curiosity and a desire to conquer it. Why do some people get past the smell while others can't? Psychology calls it neophobia, fear of the unfamiliar, mixed with sensory dissonance, when your senses send conflicting messages. Your nose says danger, but your eyes see a beautifully plated snack. Getting past that barrier creates a sense of victory, making the experience unforgettable. Interestingly, many Asians don't find the smell overwhelming because they grew up with fermented flavors like shrimp paste, kimchi, or fish sauce. And Americans have their own smelly treasures: blue cheese, aged game meat, or even certain fermented dairy. The difference isn't in the smell, it's whether your nose has been trained for it since childhood. In China, blood curd soup isn't just food. It's a piece of childhood for many. Duck or pig's blood, cooked and set into smooth, jiggly cubes, dropped into a steaming broth with fresh herbs. The aroma is warm, savory, comforting. For us, it's nothing unusual. But for many Americans, the idea of eating animal blood crosses a psychological line. Science will tell you that animal blood is rich in iron and protein, even beneficial for anemia. But culture whispers something else, that this is where eating ends and barbaric begins, at least through foreign eyes. In Vietnam or China, blood soup is tied to warmth, nourishment, even a lifesaver on cold, rainy days. In the US, though, the sight of a dark red, trembling cube on a spoon feels more like a horror movie prop than lunch. And here's the twist: once they get past the shock, quite a few Westerners start getting curious and hooked. Maybe because they realize that sometimes the line between disgusting and delicious is as thin as the skin on a blood curd. Drunken shrimp. The name alone sounds suspicious. In certain parts of China, live shrimp are dropped into strong liquor, usually potent white rice wine, to get them drunk and slow them down. Just minutes later, they're still wriggling, but too weak to escape. That's when diners dig in, sometimes eating them completely raw, sometimes giving them a quick blanch. For many Americans, eating fresh seafood is nothing unusual, but fresh to the point where it's still moving in your mouth is a whole other cultural level. It's not just shocking because of how it's prepared, but because of the philosophy behind it. In parts of Asia, freshness is prized so highly that people will eat it moments after it leaves the water. In the US, food safety standards usually mean cooking things thoroughly. That's why drunken shrimp is both a culinary experience and a psychological challenge, where delicious and fear can exist in the very same bite. Snake soup, a traditional dish in Cantonese cuisine, often made with various types of snakes, sometimes even venomous ones. The meat is simmered with herbs, ginger, mushrooms, and spices, creating a subtly sweet, warming broth believed to nourish the body and improve circulation. But for many Americans, the idea of eating snake feels a lot like competing in a survival reality show. In the West, snakes are more associated with danger or fear than with dinner. Silkworm pupae. In many Asian countries, especially Korea, China, and Vietnam, these are considered a nutritious snack. They're often boiled, steamed, or deep fried, releasing a nutty, earthy aroma. Packed with protein and minerals, they're comfort food for many who grew up in the countryside, evoking childhood memories of that sizzling pot on the stove. But for many Americans, seeing silkworm pupae for the first time makes their heart race, and not in a romantic way. These plump, golden brown worms, shiny and intact, instantly trigger the brain's look but don't eat instinct. The truth is, if you can get past the visual shock and the distinctive aroma, sometimes compared to damp hay or aged wood, silkworm pupae are an excellent source of nutrition, even hailed as a food of the future. In a world searching for sustainable protein sources, these tiny creatures might just be unsung heroes, as long as you dare to take that first bite. Pig brain hot pot, a culinary experience that's both luxuriously rich and psychologically challenging. When cooked properly, pig brain is as smooth as cream, with a light, buttery taste that melts instantly on the tongue. In many parts of Asia, it's considered highly nutritious, packed with omega-3 and healthy fats for the brain. But for many Americans, the mere idea of putting brain in their mouth is enough to make them shiver. In Western culture, brains are more often associated with gory zombie movies or lab dissections than with a steaming, fragrant hot pot.